And we're live. Hello and welcome to episode 69 of Hex Therapy Live. I'm your host, Maddie ALLin, retired multimillionaire therapist, thanks to Hex. And tonight we will talk about a variety of topics, whether it's things that are in the rumor mill on Twitter or self-care strategies. I plan to ramble as hard as I can ramble today, and can't wait to share, everything I can for this episode of Hex Therapy Live. So if you haven't hit the like and subscribe button yet, get out or go ahead and do it now. Happy St. Patrick's Day. If there is not a pot of gold at the end of this stream, then I don't know what to tell you. With that being said, let's get started.
It's from Maddie ALLin of Hex Therapy Live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research. There's nothing that a human being could do better than try and heal his fellow man.
So the first thing that's on my mind is how grateful I am to be alive and to be in this community and to be living the life that I am. I know that I'm very fortunate, which is why I'm trying to pay forward all of my mad gains in cryptocurrency by doing this show and many other initiatives to try to give back. Tonight, I will give you a preview of some of the projects that I'm working on, along with your usual mix of predictions about, what's going on in the space. I want to get everybody up to date because I feel like I can finally think clearly now that the Hex conference in Las Vegas has been successfully concluded. I was constantly busy for the past 2 or 3 weeks. We had the Daytona 500. I had to get the DeLorean all the way across the country. And I also, like many of you, wanted to stay up to speed on every last tweet of Hex founder Richard Hart and the entire community. I wanted to understand, the hedron airdrop and what's been going on with the Sens Foundation. So there really is a lot to report tonight. However, the first therapy skill that I want to bring to the forefront tonight is this idea of gratitude. And so gratitude is one of, the categories of things that you can do to have positive self-talk. Positive self-talk is something that not everybody does. We all have a mental, excuse me, we all have a mental monologue, a voice inside of our heads that tells us, what's going on around us and what's going on inside of us and what we're imagining in the past and in the future. Oftentimes, we're affected by our environment. And so when it comes to, staying up on the news too much, a lot of news stations are programmed to bring you fear, uncertainty, and doubt about your entire experience in the world. And when I worked in a mental health clinic, I oftentimes had to advise clients who were experiencing depression, anxiety, addiction, trauma, and other common, conditions. I had to advise them to turn off the news. And I know that that kind of conflicts with, my own personal belief that it's worthwhile for each person to stay up to date on what's going on in the world. However, in my opinion, it's super important for us to take care of ourselves first. before we try to take care of the rest of the world. Because if we're not functioning at our best, then how can we really be out there to help others? And this is something that, it's a theme that I had to take up with caregivers very often. Some people take on more responsibility to care for others while they go through this life. And that's what we would call a caretaking role. And, whether you're staying up on the news so that you can take care of the issues that are facing the world, for most people, it's just fear porn. It's, something to break up the mundane experiences and to really like validate their own struggles through a form of catharsis, if we want to get really psychoanalytic. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is it's okay to give yourself permission to turn off the news. And what that often causes is that you might find it easier to be grateful for the things that are going on around you. When you don't have, a huge influx, a huge influence of negativity in your life, when you're not constantly being shown images of people being blown up or shot or messed with in one way or another, people are capable of finding peace. And one example that I would give was a very influential psychology book that I read called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And he was a Jewish psychologist who was caught up, in basically in the Nazi internment camps. And he was the only one to survive out of his entire cohort of people who had become prisoners. He wrote a book describing the psychological methods that he used in order to survive, and made a really good case for how the human spirit, it can exist independently of one's own conditions, although that's very difficult. The point is that people can find meaning in any situation, no matter how good or bad. Now, of course, we do want to make the world a better place. We don't just want to accept the negativity or the injustice or anything like that. All I'm saying is that the therapy skill for today that comes to mind is giving yourself permission to temporarily take a break from the negative events that are occurring in the world, to regroup, to practice gratefulness, to practice self-care, and to get your ordinates about you. Hey, awesome. First comment I see is Jim Rat Crypto. Shout out to you and all the awesome work that you're doing. This community is really outstanding. That's all I wanted to say about the tuning out the negative news. I've been finding myself experiencing more instances of gratefulness, and I think part of it is due to my experience, and part of it is due to me trying to be mindful of positive things. Just because somebody has achieved wealth in cryptocurrency or in any other market does not mean that the person automatically finds happiness. However, if you've been tuning in, to my journey and to this show for the past 69 weeks, or any amount in between, you may know that this is something that those of us who are participating in Hex Therapy, we want to get this right. We want to study and practice the skills that are necessary to overcome sudden wealth syndrome, and then to help others achieve sudden wealth and then make that their strength instead of a syndrome. I'm seeing so many awesome names here in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's here. And so I've been trying to keep in mind and trying to, balance my life and behaviors, because I am passionate about creating Hex content. And that's another thing that I'll share with you tonight is what are the things that I'm working on now that the conference is over. First off, shout out to everybody who came to the conference. We had in between 300 and 600 people there. It was so difficult to estimate exactly how many people were there because everybody was so spread out, which was the goal, was to have people mint their own experiences within the community, to break off into small groups and really experience the camaraderie and the connections that we're making, going from a group of people who met on the internet and who spent many hours, over many weeks together, learning and winning together and losing together, right? And having our ups and downs. It's been really amazing to experience another instance of a successful Hex meetup. Anyway, we sold 500, and I'm not lying, we sold like right around 555 tickets. I couldn't really have like planned it better. I was trying to have this be like a 1,000 or 1,500 person meetup originally, but that's like the magic number that came in. And in June, 9 months ago, we had the first mass meetup in Las Vegas that I hosted, and that was 369 people. So it looks like we may have probably just taken the record back from Discourse Syndicate, who hosted the London event with the highest of stakes. Anyway, a lot of people have done recaps. They've reported back to the community what a great time they had at the conference. I heard overwhelmingly positive things. There was some negativity and infighting going into the conference. And I think that was for a lot of reasons that it's fine to break down from time to time. But I just want to emphasize the positivity that was experienced. Not only did Hexicans come together, to have the biggest meetup in Hex history, and not only did we have 4 full days of really awesome talks, much of which was recorded with the sound on, some of which got dropped by YouTube, and some of which we weren't recording for the first minute or two with the audio. But overall, I think that the event was highly successful, and there were some really key moments. But I want to thank everybody, because that's going to switch the topic. I want to thank everybody who volunteered. The event couldn't have happened if so many Hexicans weren't there with the attitude of, coming in a day early, working the merch table or the check-in table, day after day. And shout out to Sticker Guy as well. He was he was my main person to go to in organizing the entire event. So shout out to everybody who attended, and also shout out to everybody who watched online. I think the video with Richard in it from day 4 got 27,000 views. And the thing that's really incredible is that the average watch time was double the amount that it normally is. This Hex dip is, quantitatively showing us that the people with the longer attention spans and the more long-term thinking, those are the winners who are already being shown, because everybody else is self-selecting out. The people who couldn't handle the 80% dip, even though it's our 6th or 7th or 8th 80% dip before we did a brand new all-time high in the past 2.5 years. Like, some people, they couldn't handle it. So they left, they sold. Who knows? Maybe they just stopped watching. But the people who are watching, interestingly enough, I would not necessarily have predicted that as we would see this churn happening, as we would see the numbers maintaining and even growing, that the average watch time would go up. It's pretty incredible. And I think it has to do with part of the magic of time locking your money and then wanting to remain engaged in the community. Sure enough, there are so many things in Hex that can still be explored. And, I wanted to throw that out there as well. We started a new show on Tuesday nights called Game Theory Gang. And those of you who already watched it, there have been 4,500 or 5,000 views already. You could already tell we were all fired up to do the episode. David Feeder, K4K Crypto, and myself will plan on doing a deep dive every week into game theory, which seems to be everybody's favorite topic. When there's a new chart that explains something that people haven't ever understood before, when there's even a new narrative that can help pump the price of Hex, when there's a dev available to explain things, and when there's game theory going on, it seems like those are the things that the community can be super excited about, as well as onboarding, right? Those are probably like the top 5 topics that we cover. So this first episode was awesome. We had a great time. We covered a lot of good stuff. And so we'll be back again next week. I already put the landing page up. You can hit the like button ahead of time if you want to trust us with that. So anybody there? Good show Tuesday night. Yeah. GTG, that's right. Time to get an Odyssey channel, that's for sure. Jen Hex, cool screen name. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Maddie, thanks for putting the Hexpo together. Couldn't make it really, but appreciated it being streamed. Closest thing to being there. Hope to make it to the next one. Craig, your new account. Shout out to you. Good OPSEC, and I'll remember that. Yeah, it was my pleasure to record it. I knew ahead of time that we wouldn't be able to, that not everybody would be able to make it, and that we really are a global community. So it was great to be able to stream it. Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you, Maddie, for the monumental efforts for the Hex community. My pleasure. I'm excited about everything that is coming. I know that there's a new testnet coming out here, and I'm really excited to play around with that. Let's see. Jimrat, crypto, I'd love it if you would come on my channel next week or next time you're free to talk about the future of Hex streamers. I would love to. Let's set it up. I don't think it's wise to still sacrifice. However, on the hex.com website, the new version, it says that the sacrifice is still going on. And then if you click on the link, it says that the sacrifice is not going on anymore. So I hope people aren't getting confused by that. I was thinking about letting Richard know about that discrepancy, but I also could see how it wouldn't be a bad thing if people just read what it says. So good observation about people continuing to sacrifice to Pulse Chain. Well, I was talking about the Pulse X sacrifice that's linked to on the hex.com website. But either way, your guess is as good as mine. If you want to get really investigative, you can go to Etherscan. You could sign up for an account on there called, I think it's Bisq. And you can actually comment on somebody's address. So you could go through on a few of the addresses if you're really curious about them. And you can make a post and ask people, hey, like, why did you sacrifice for pulse chain when it's such a bad multiplier? You're basically getting nothing. And most people probably wouldn't see it, but who knows? Maybe you'll get some answers that way. I think that in the future there will be more integration between like social media and actual blockchain and blockchain addresses. Like you can already see for major contract addresses, sacrifice addresses, there's tons of comments there on Etherscan. It's really cool. So that might catch on someday. Yeah, everybody's still buzzing from the conference. I love that. Good job on the conference. Hope you had a good recovery relaxation. Glad you got your hedron. We miss you in the Twitter chats. Yeah, right on. Yeah, that's something that I announced on Game Theory Gang on Tuesday, that I was finally able to claim my hedron. I was too busy with the conference, to investigate it as much as I wanted to, and everybody's going to be different. So I know a lot of people got like a 10x multiplier. I think I got the 9x multiplier. It was also a big deal to me that the origin address claimed, which I had kind of privately like recommended, to the powers that be. Like, I guess I was asking the right questions, and I wasn't thinking that hedron would be worthless. I was worried that it would, that the encapsulated stake part would be a bad thing for the ecosystem, but that was only because I thought that the social consensus layer is the most important, which is where my shocking statement about the OA came from. Was simply me just repeating what, the basic thinking that Richard had about crypto is socially enforced in the end anyway. Although I regret, scaring everybody or pissing people off. That's the last thing I want to do. I don't mind having an unpopular opinion, but I don't think that the OA would emergency end stake everybody. I said it to make a point about social consensus layer, and it was not taken well. So needless to say, I've taken a harsh beating in the community, and those of you who are still here may be the more advanced users or the ones that are maybe here for the right reasons, and everybody else, maybe they were just tuning in because they wanted to know about the conference, or because they really didn't understand the hundreds of hours of content that I've already made. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people want to come in, let's say, to like I could compare this YouTube channel to like an advanced class in grad school or something. And for a lot of people, there would be a prerequisite that you had the, basic understanding so you wouldn't get lost. And so people could still, so we could go over the advanced topics with the students that had been prepared up into that point. So anyway, let me say one more thing about the conference, because I feel way better now. Like I'm not gonna lie, I was considering what would happen if I just stopped streaming, because of all the negativity I was getting. Now I look at it as a learning experience and something where, in the end, I had more people come up to me. I got more access to people who understand very deeply what the game theory is that I was concerned about, and were able to talk it out with me. So, sometimes when you're looking out for the best interest of others, that doesn't mean that you're always going to get things right. But I think we need people to do that. And that we shouldn't beat them up too much, when they don't get understood very well, or when they say things that are just misleading to some. So at the end of the day, again, I really I'm appreciative to all the support that I've gotten. All the negative stuff that people are comfortable sharing online. When you actually go in person and you meet up with 500 hexagons, like, there's so much positivity. It's gonna carry me for months to come. So that's what's up. I like what Honest Autist says. I tuned in because it said 69 in the title. I expected something else, but I am not unhappy with what I got. Shout out to you. Shout out to DJ Pollywood. I love that all these screen names now, a lot of them I match with faces of people that I've had cool experiences with. Like DJ Polly and I went with Crypto Sparbach to, I think, 2 or 3 cities since he and I were both joining the tour at different times. So yeah, shout out to you. What's up? If we didn't all have different opinions, the world would be boring. Yeah, respect. Another big thing that came out of the conference was Aubrey DeGray took a stand against the Sens Foundation board of directors, who have acted to remove him from the board for something that was unjustified, and an investigation essentially exonerated Aubrey of false accusations. And this board, I don't think they have the donor intent in mind of the $27.5 million that the Hex and Pulse communities under Richard Hart's leadership raised as funds to advance longevity research and regenerative medicine. So on Tuesday, I described Aubrey as the origin address of funding research. And I'll explain that analogy here in a minute. More of the backstory, though. At the conference, Aubrey not only presented a brief update on the state of the art in the regenerative longevity medicine field that he helped establish when he was graduated from Oxford and had, the world-class credentials that he needed. He went against the popular opinion and said that regenerative medicine, basically taking the cells that have been damaged in your body and fixing them, he saw that as the future and almost got laughed out of his field. Well, it turns out that cellular senescence research is super important and has been a really promising area. And so, of course, it was shocking that all of the events transpired where the Sens board of directors tried to, screw with the money that we had put down, that we had intended Aubrey would spend based on his best discretion and based on his track record. So, I think Aubrey was super pleasantly surprised at the extreme amount of support that he got from the Hex community, not only at the conference, but also with the $10 million donor, representing about 35% of all donations. That person signed on the blockchain that their intent was for Aubrey to control the funds. So believe it or not, I've been working with Aubrey in the sense that I've been promoting his link for people who donated to this $27.5 million, you can submit like this small amount of information and decide, whether you want to even use an alias, just basically getting you on record as stating that you wanted the funds, that you intended them to be used by Aubrey. And it's been 8 or 9 months, and these funds have not been deployed. Aubrey has identified ways to deploy the funds, and the board has gotten in the way. So, I predict that there will be legal proceedings, and they could keep the funds tied up for a while, which I think, if the board's intent is corporate espionage, or to, allow other companies in Silicon Valley that are more short-term thinking and profit-oriented, if they are trying to catch up and get their technology moved along faster, they've got another thing coming, because not only will, in my opinion, like this legal case be pretty open and closed, but I've personally, volunteered to donate crypto directly to Aubrey as a way to send a further message to the board, that the funds aren't going to go to Sens anymore until they fix their leadership and until they start using the $27.5 million for what they're supposed to. This is essentially the strategy of doubling down on Aubrey. However, I also see it as doubling down on myself and my own commitment to wanting to live a longer health span. It's not just that people, might want to live longer, the better their quality of life is, and the better that the quality of life is of everybody else around them throughout the world. We might reach a point in our lifetimes where energy is abundant, where the price of things only goes down because, we've developed exponentially increasing technology that makes the world more productive, and we've turned off the exponential money printing that the government has up until this point been able to get away with. Hex has a Nobel Prize worthy design of paying inflation to only the people who are not selling, to only the people who have time locked. And so, we'll go into that more in the future. I want to make a special segment about onboarding that can simplify a lot of the concepts that we use in our marketing for Hex. However, attracting people who are attracted to more complex explanations is not a hurtful thing to establish a user base. All of us who got into Hex, such as myself, who were just eager for a Bitcoin free claim and to try out our skills of signing a Bitcoin transaction and pulling it through to the Ethereum network. That's what got me interested in Hex. So go figure. We kind of, people have argued with me about this, but it doesn't mean I'm wrong. It's kind of like a UTXO fork of the people in Bitcoin who were technically savvy enough to sign a message to do a free claim. Anyway. The Sens Foundation, but what I really mean is Aubrey as a leader. He has a track record going back many years of doing things that are trustworthy. So equally, we could see that also the origin address in Hex has now developed a track record where it has not sold a single Hex. That's incredible. It's almost impossible to believe, but at the same time, we have like really good supporting evidence that the origin address, is really based on game theory, incentivized not to ever sell, especially if that same account controls billions of dollars of Ethereum, billions of dollars of Bitcoin, and $1 billion of USDC. So that's definitely a good thing. When it comes to Aubrey sacrificed millions of dollars of his own inheritance many years ago to start the Sense Foundation. It's a very rare thing for people to do what Aubrey did and to continue to do it over the years. And so that's why I'm placing my trust in him without any undue expectations. You know, it is disappointing that the 27 million is not being deployed yet. But that's why I think it's even more important, because the longer that this science stops from being advanced, it's exponentially greater number of lives and years that people are missing out on, right? And so I am FOMOing into longevity. I have volunteered to donate $5,000 of my hedron airdrop to Aubrey DeGray. I met with him earlier today to set up a wallet for him to set up his own wallet. And he and I will continue this week in the next day or two to go over the essentials so that he can start accepting money. Although we're probably going to have two different routes. One where you can send any coin that's on Coinbase to the Methuselah Foundation, and it will be earmarked for Aubrey's use. That way you will still get the benefits, the tax benefits of a 501c organization donation to a charity, to a registered charity. And then if somebody is wanting to like donate hedron without turning it into USDC first, or even Hex, then you would send it directly to Aubrey so that he could do the swap and then like send it on to the Methuselah Foundation. So the Methuselah Foundation, they're not allowed to accept anything that's not on Coinbase. So anyway, that's my workaround, and that's my initiative. I wanted to take it one step further. Aubrey wasn't asking for funds from us, which I thought was a problem. I think that myself personally, I would like to give a percentage of all the yearly stakes that I have coming out. I'd like to give some of that to fund longevity research. And now is an even more important time than ever, because Aubrey's reputation has been damaged unduly. And, because these funds have been held inactive. And so again, that's why I think it's important, for myself, I'm volunteering to make a donation using some of my hedron airdrop. I was blown away and like super excited, super inspired that our own HexLina on Twitter, HexLina Pulse a lot, has joined me, even though she is a squid. She volunteered to donate $2,500 to Aubrey DeGray. And if anyone else out there wants to donate as well along with us, if you want to match our funds or blow us out of the water, then please stay tuned for the details. We will be able to release more details in the next day or two. Like I said, we made progress today, and we've got a plan here. So for me, I claimed my hedron. When I say claimed, I minted it, and it's my understanding that that locks in the multiplier for the rest of the stake. Although I heard a lot of people acting like it didn't. And so I think some people are just like a little bit confused that even if you mint it now, I think you still get the multiplier. So it's not like, it's not like if you mint, you're like giving up your multiplier. You're just like cashing in on what has already happened. And then in the future, you can cash in again using that multiplier. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's how it works. So either way, I am keeping some hedron because I predict it could be valuable or not valuable. And I, don't want to completely lose my position. Oh, and if you're going to talk shit, then I'm just going to block you. It's like not that hard. I'm here putting myself out there. I don't know what you're doing. Anyway, positivity. Yay. So yeah, I kept some, sold some, donating some to the Sense Foundation. And, I've advised my onboards to claim they're going to get, they either got a 9x or an 8x, just like I did on some of my wallets. And so, at the end of the day, I'm still advising people to not mess around with encapsulated stakes. I think that those are very treacherous. However, do your own research and, get lost if you got something negative to say. I'm out here trying to promote, the value proposition of Hex. Pay your future self. I have put in a lot of hours to educate people in an honest way. I've built trust with the community. And if you don't claim, you don't lock your bonus. I want to say when I claimed, it showed me that I was still getting my bonus. But I understood the claim locked in the multiplier and you commit anytime up to when the stake ends. Yeah. But that also means, but if you mint and the stake still has a lot of time on it, you're locking in your multiplier and then you continue to earn at that multiple. Yeah. Let's see. You can mint every day and waste gas or mint prior to the end stake and cumulative. Yeah. I mean, like if we look at the game theory, it's like not super incentivized for people who understand the system best to be like, yeah, you just make it all liquid now. Not to be that guy, but yeah, you have new hedron to mint each day. The question is, are you still getting the multiplier if you've already minted? I think you are. If you don't claim or mint, you don't lock in your bonus, which is why it's important, you might argue, to claim or mint before the next period ends, which is in 8 or 9 days. Thanks, Susie Q. Thank you, Maddie, for being perfectly human with us. We love you. Yay. Love you too. I understood the claim locked in the multiplier and you come in anytime. Okay, I already read that. The percentage lasts for the entire length. You can mint your coins anytime. Tonight we are at 8% for the next 10 days. Well, I think it's an 8x multiplier. So it's like a 800%. Minting auto claims the bonus. Okay. And then you continue to get that bonus throughout the life of that stake, right? I'm saying encapsulated stakes are not battle hardened yet. It's still an experiment. So the code is probably not dangerous, but it's not making your hands any stronger if you can trade your stakes. I've agreed to not go into it until I have a clear way to present what I'm saying. But hey, guess what? You don't have to wait on me. You could go do a bunch of tradable stakes all you want. But I'm trying to educate an audience and of experts. So if you're not an expert, then don't freak out. I will donate a few grand every year too. Great idea. Hey, that is so awesome. Thank you, Pulse, for your pledge to give to the Sense. I automatically say to the Sense Foundation, to Aubrey DeGray, and to regenerative medicine, longevity. That's really awesome. And I'm seeing that as such a positive thing that's coming out of the Hedron airdrop. Is it freed up more money for me to give to the Sense Foundation, and also seems to be building something on top of Hex that people like. Just heard about it today. That is why I'm bringing attention to it, because I want to make sure that everybody knows about it. It's my channel and I get to talk about stuff whenever I'm ready, because I'm legally responsible for, some things. And so there it is. Maddie for being calm. What's up, Ash? You're a walking, talking encyclopedia for Pulse Chain and PulseX. Thanks for the time and effort. My pleasure, Mac. Yeah, you still get the same percentage through the entire stake. There's like a tiny advantage to claiming and waiting to mint near the end of the stake if you were going to hold the Hedron anyway, which is the gas fee. But let's say you think Hedron's going to the moon in 2 years. Maybe Ethereum gas fees are going to be fixed by then. Maybe you're going to have a copy of your Hedron on Pulse Chain, on ETH 1.0 and ETH 2.0, and all of the other, people who are airdropping, people who airdropped to people who airdropped, I could totally see a future in which there are so many forks that are valuable enough that like certain front ends are created to manage all of them in a way that is very simple and kind of like automatic. I was thinking about that today. That's like it's definitely going to happen. There's going to be, because, guess what? Like Motley. So I listen to other Hex streamers. Out of all of like the OG broadcasters, I think it's super clear that I probably am the biggest fan of other Hex broadcasters other than Ballet Brand. I listen to so much Hex content. I listen to it on 2X, and I listen to everybody because I want to know what they know. And there's so many exciting personalities and so many exciting things happening in the Hex space. So I'm going to start like telling people all the things that I'm learning from others in this public way, because I think it adds to the show. And I think it'll be valuable for you if you're somebody who doesn't have time to watch many hours, probably like it's embarrassing to say how much Hex content I listen to every week. Probably like, I don't know, 50 hours, maybe way more. Like it's just constant. Anyway, good stuff out there. Shout out to all the other broadcasters. Trevon is doing an airdrop supposedly to anybody who's a Hex holder within his like his, how do I want to say this? Like his like kind of proof of weak hands-ish game where there's like a 10% cut when you go in and a 10% cut when you go out. A lot of people in the beginning didn't understand what tokenair was, which was one of 4 different front ends that he made for Hex. And anyway, he announced like today that he's doing an airdrop to tokenair holders of like some more token. And so that's interesting. That's like something new. That's news about airdrops. I used to be like a big airdrop reporter. Also, Motley the investor hopped on Funding Jim's stream about how Rackham was bad-mouthing him and actually, dropped a hint that he's going to be creating some sort of token that it might be given to Hex holders. I know that he's been extremely tight-lipped, both in person and on stream, so this is another big development. Of course, Andreas Antonopoulos predicted that even people named Joey would create their own coin, that every kid and adult in America would create their own coin someday, as part of this tokenizing everything, gamification of the world that could be incentivized by blockchain technology. Right now, everybody's got an NFT. Maybe in the future, everybody has a coin. Not necessarily a good thing for the space because you've got more tickers to compete with. You've got more complexity, less efficiency in the financial space. But guess what? It might be a super awesome thing. That might be what people need in order to participate. To like, do you want to buy somebody else's coin or do you want to create your own? And if there would be a way to like tie that into some real value, tie that into Hex, for example, that could be some like cutting edge stuff that nobody's thought about or talked about publicly. Who knows? You're hearing it here first, people. Everybody gets Joey coin and you're Joey. Read Mastering Bitcoin. At least flip through the first few pages if you can. You can download it for free if you know how to download stuff for free on the internet. Awesome. We can come back to this hedron thing. I mean, I think, okay, people said I was correct. So, yeah. I have another announcement to make. I'm going to the Bitcoin conference. No, I'm not selling my Hex for Bitcoin. I was in Bitcoin was my first love when it came to cryptocurrency. And I'm excited to go to the conference. I hosted a conference for the Hex community, and I didn't get to do a bunch of onboarding, and I didn't get to do a bunch of hanging out because I was running the thing. I was literally working from when I woke up to when I went to sleep. Some breaks, actually. But the bottom line is, I want to go to a conference now. So there's a Bitcoin conference in like 2.5, 3 weeks. I'm going to it. I'm probably going to make some content. I'll probably stream from there because there's going to be a bunch of cool speakers, and maybe they don't know anything about Hex, but that's just opportunity for me to onboard people. I took 3 graduate level, difficulty classes online with Safety Amus, who is like basically the first PhD who started writing a bunch of stuff about Bitcoin, as far as I know, who is popular, wrote the Bitcoin Standard. And so like I took 3 of his courses before Hex was invented. Like that helped prepare me to get into Hex. So I'm going to go to like one of his little get together events and, maybe really subtly shill hex. Either way, if you want to go too, like hit me up. I'm going to go to the carnivore steak dinner, and then I'm going to go to the 2 days of conference. They've got Jordan Peterson speaking, who's a like a psychologist who has taken up certain social issues and has spoken for freedom and mental health. And so I'm super stoked to see him. I think it's going to be ridiculous to see this volcano, emperor guy or whatever, the head of state over there in Bitcoin world, where they've got Bitcoin being the reserve currency for their country, and they're trying to create volcano bonds. Like, Hex is the first blockchain CD, and that's a form of a savings bond, but they're trying to make Bitcoin bonds that are based on burning more, like magma or something. Anyway, I digress. The bottom line is, if anybody else is going, hit me up. Let me know what you're doing. There's going to be 2 days of conference, and then it's like Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday they're having a concert. It's down in Miami. Yeah, it'll be cool. Hey, Jim Rat Crypto, let's talk. Take some Hex business cards with me. Yeah. The DeLorean is still in Las Vegas, so I don't know that I could get that back here in time. Although if somebody has a trailer and a truck and they want to help me get it back to the Midwest or to Florida or wherever, hit me up, I guess. That was quite the challenge the first time around. I'm not pumping Trayvon's thing. I was just observing that lots of people are going to start creating coins. So I'm literally telling you about the future that is starting to be here before anybody else. So, I was the only public figure who predicted that the origin address would sacrifice for Pulse. And I was very close to the amount that it did. I said 10 billion and it was 14 billion. So once you have like a strong track record of predicting things based on logic and game theory and everything, then you can, criticize what I really said, which is not that the OA would fork away your bags for claiming Hex. You mean claiming hedron. And I was alluding to the problem with encapsulated stakes, which in the end just showed me which members of my audience were prepared enough by learning about game theory, by listening to hundreds of hours of Richard Hart, hundreds of hours of me, and thousands of hours of other people in the crypto space, and how that informed us that it is socially enforced, and I'm not getting into it. So not all game theory needs to be discussed publicly. And if you want to watch Game Theory Gang, like understand it better, be my guest. I'm not into Canary, but there's like hundreds of millions of Hex that's in it. So it's relevant. It's relevant for us to understanding the ecosystem. It's part of being an expert in Hex is understanding Staker app, the OA daughter addresses, the founder, the whales, the sharks, the dolphins, the squids, the code. What's your favorite line of Hex code? My favorite line of hex code is line 718. Is that the one that says Cuatro Cinco is the longest stake you can make, 5,555 days. We've got a space rock to prove it. So, Meltoni, Hex is at 11.5 cents today. Shout out to you for keeping track. Yeah. Oh, shout out to, are you the new news channel that covers stuff? It's outstanding content. Thank you for making content. It's like really well done. And let's see. Yeah, so I have a story about this. Today, I reported, like the first time I heard of ApeCoin was earlier today when I reported it to YouTube that people were taking a video of Vitalik and saying that, you know, you could claim this ApeCoin and this and that. It was an airdrop. Then Coinbase gives me a notification like, hey, by the way, like, so I reported that, blocked it, you know, reported the channel because they were replaying Vitalik interviews, like getting people to click on a spammy link. And then I get a notification from Coinbase like, hey, you want to buy this new coin that's out here? Like, if people are working that hard to like scam people and dump on your head and notify everybody all at once, like there's some big bags trying to dump, in my opinion. So yeah, the coin went from whatever it was, like went up thousands of % on Coinbase, which normally doesn't happen, and then crashed back down. So that's what you get when you have like people ready to dump. It's pump and dump. That's how it is. Hexkin's waiting for Pulse Chain to have idle hands. Yeah. And I mean, probably people are going to continue to be bored whether they have liquid crypto or not. I mean, I don't think Pulse Chain is going to solve the fact that people hate waiting for their 15-year stakes to come out. But that's part of what Hex Therapy is for. Yeah, I think people get confused about what shilling something means. Like, if you aren't here to learn about the tech, then go watch a different stream. Like, what you probably detected was me being excited about the fact that I discovered a new trend. Tons of people in the Hex community and outside the Hex community are going to start creating their own coins and giving them to Hex users. This is the hedron price. Apparently it went up 5 or 10x since its launch. Hey, Hex Ninja Turtle, shout out to you. More token is being created by Trevon, who is like a reformed, semi-reformed, like BitConnect promoter, who has like won back favor with some people, I think, for not giving up. And he ended up promoting Hex. So definitely a controversial character, but somebody who still streams to bring awareness to Hex. So Hedron conference, good question. What website can I read about it on? If you're talking about Hedron, it's hedron.pro. What happened with Valley Brand? I don't know. He's awesome. And every time anybody brings him up or thinks about like who's listening to the most content or being the most outstanding supporter of Hex streamers, it's always Valley Brand. So what happened is I think he won an award at the Hex conference. Hey, that reminds me. Tone Vase like released a video today of his 3rd annual Scammy Awards, and apparently Richard Hart won a Scammy Award for Pulse Chain and Pulse X. So good news. That means there's opportunity. That means a lot of people still don't understand anything about the tech of blockchain. Just because you got rich in Bitcoin, or because you have a paid group, or because your conference had less people at it the day before our conference in Vegas in the same city. Sorry, Tone Vase, your conference failed. The Hex conference won in every measure. You know, your Scammy Award thing got what, 5,000 views so far? Day 4 of the Hex conference, when we had our award ceremony, you know, that got 27,000 views. So, you know, get ready for the future. It's already here because a lot of us already staked 6.5 years into the future. I'm not that mad. I wanted to talk about it, but I'm not that mad at Tone Vase anymore because he's just making a fool of himself. Which is good content in the end. It's Bitcoin 2022 Miami. I mean, oh, like, why isn't it letting me share my screen? Chrome has lost permission. Let me try to fix this. System preferences. Leave a comment whether you're watching live or on the replay. Hit the like and subscribe button if you dare, and leave a comment below. Now's your time to think of the perfect comment and leave it either in the live stream or in the comments below. That is weird. I don't know. I guess Chrome isn't allowed to like share my screen anymore. That's weird. Yay for updates. Yay for making the world a worse place. I'm so offended right now. Technology is supposed to make things easier, not supposed to break things every time an unapproved update gets pushed to something. Anyway, they've got a really cool website. I'm sorry I can't share it with you. Let me try one more time. There we go. Okay. I guess I just had to complain enough and not give up. So the conference is April 6th through 9th. 1, 2, 3. That's like 2 weeks and 6 days away. It's like the 6th. I think I'm going to get there on the 6th. And then I'm going to go to the 2 days for general admission. I'm not paying $15,000 for a whale ticket. I got a ticket to the general admission, to the talks. Let's see who the speakers are. So first day is industry day. I'm not going to that. And then there's the main conference. And then on day 4, there's a Sound Money Fest. View the agenda. So okay, so this isn't like here, speakers. Confirmed speakers. Dr. Jordan Peterson, professor, psychologist, and author. So badass. Michael Saylor, the president of El Salvador, Safedine Amus, Jack Maulers, Peter Thiel, Kathy Wood, Eric Weinstein. I'm going to name all the names that I know. Andrew Yang, Preston Syke, Adam Back. Oh, Michaela Peterson is Jordan Peterson's daughter. Jeff Booth. I love Jeff Booth. Jeff Booth is awesome. Let's see. Max Kaiser, Haight, Francis Poulet, dev, early dev in Bitcoin. Jimmy Song, super annoying, but teaches about programming Bitcoin. Matt Odell, it's like programmer. It's early person. Tour de Meester. So they do have a really strong cast of people who, well, I guess if they don't understand Hex and they don't understand crypto, hey, at least they're doing what they love, right? Tom Lee, he was an influence on me early on. Like, so a lot of these people, you know, if they're onboarding millions of people and then those people are eventually going to find their way to Hex, like, thank you for your service, I guess, right? They should have Richard Hart speak. I don't think they would, though, because they only want to pump their bags and they don't understand how early it is in Hex. Some of them will figure it out. Robert Breedlove. I love Robert Breedlove. Robert Breedlove is one of my top 5 favorite Bitcoin streamers. Talks about sovereign money and the history of money, stoicism. He's done some really great series. Gary's met him. Gary's met a lot of these people. I think some of them. Part of the Rebel Capital and all the real estate stuff. Okay, so I'm actually looking at this closely for the first time because I'm really there to just like go to the steak dinner and be like, last time I had a $200 steak, it made me a millionaire. That's what I'm going to say. Also, Safedine like accidentally leaked his entire email list, which I've never used, but maybe someday we'll explain to those people in an email what's up with Hex. Caitlin Long, I think she's kind of cool. Jameson Lopp, super OG. So just a lot of Bitcoin billionaires and I assume people who market stuff. Dan Moorhead. Now we're getting into like, well, you're Pantera Capital. Maybe you're not a good influence. Simpson Mao. Mike Novogratz. Okay. The Galaxy Digital dude. shilled Bitcoin in 2017. So, I mean, it looks like they've got, they've got a good crew here. Right on. Many more speakers. Wow. Cool. What's the Sound Money Festival? Trying to give me a strike on my YouTube channel. That's what it is. It's going to be Logic, Steve Aoki, Deadmau5. That's what's up. Super exciting. So you can get just a ticket to this. With a lot of the stuff, you get a discount if you buy it with Bitcoin, like 20 or 30%. So just use Coinbase or whatever if you want. Yeah, super exciting. Because again, I'm going to show Hex, and to understand how these conferences go in the crypto space so that I can keep making the best conferences possible. I went there, get ready for lines around the block. I wish I had Hex cards back then. Awesome point. Nice t-shirt. Hey, thanks. My sister made it for me. You predicted so much stuff. You're so smart, Manny. Thanks. I try. I have learned from a lot of smart people like Richard Hart and this entire community. Minus the haters. I've only learned a little bit from the haters. Not as much as I would have liked. Jim Rat Crypto. Whoa. Road trip. Yo. Count it. There's drama with Brand. I don't know anything about that. Maybe he didn't like my comment prior to the conference. Thank you. What's up, Maddie? Awesome Vegas convention. You did a great job. Thank you. Hey, my pleasure. We want more G2G. GTG. Yo, same. It's going to be an exciting weekly show here. Self-referral was my favorite. There you go. I am not the founder of Hedron. There's a guy named Alex who is. He does lots of answering of questions. Kincaid Honey, my favorite person who is a young adult and you're 19 years old, Hex millionaire, awesome example of somebody who came to the Hex conference. And thanks, Richard Hart, live on stream. You rock. Everybody follow Kincaid Honey on Twitter and elsewhere. Super awesome dude. I wish we would have gotten to talk more at the conference. I was running around, but definitely noticed your positivity and your testimony. Thank you for sharing that. And you're saying, I thank you for everything you do for the Hex community. You're one of a kind individual, just like Richard. Lucky to have you. Thank you. That is extremely high praise. Game Theory Gang. Brainstorming is my new favorite. There you go. Yeah, if you don't know, we're brainstorming here and having academic debates. That's one thing I really loved about Quant Gang is for a long time there, we could all give you a different take on something and then see how it played out. But we didn't let disagreement stop us from having academic debates, because guess what? The whole basis of science is something has to be falsifiable, has to be measurable, and when we're trying to understand economics better than economists do, when we're trying to understand the newest cutting edge of financial technology, it's helpful to have dissent. It's helpful for people to give unpopular opinions 9 times out of 10. T-shirt drama. Okay. Listen, I am not able to check all my DMs. So if somebody wants to tell me what the issue is, I can then be aware of it. What's 120K more than your hedron? Okay. I mean, yeah. So hedron could become rare and valuable someday. Yeah, so I'm not getting rid of it all. I have publicly stated now twice this week that I'm not getting rid of it all, and that I'm not telling other people what to do with their money. Just practicing my free speech about what I'm doing. So, good point. Hexkins are holders and founders now. There you go. Tone is so ridiculous. Yes. Well said. The Hex convention was infinitely better than the Bitcoin one. Heck yeah. Yeah, because you've got all the people who are in Hex who are like-minded and on a mission together, who are bonded together by fate and by their own past selves paying their future selves. It's incredible. I'm excited for the Bitcoin conference as well because there's going to be not Hex people there. And so hopefully I'll get to mint some new stakers. Also, that reminds me, I have an onboarding tool that is probably, people have told me it's superior to any other onboarding tool that exists. It does not take a fee, so I forgot to promote it very much. And there's some stuff I won't go into that distracted me from focusing on that. But I will be rebranding my front end and continuing to make it as a not-for-profit way to pay this forward. I'm super excited to announce that when the time is ready in the next couple weeks here. Hopefully before the Bitcoin conference, that'll be my goal. I will rebrand the front end that Future Us and I created that has been working. It has allowed hundreds of people to onboard to Hex. And it's time to take it to the next level by letting the community know how smooth it is and really giving it the debut that it deserves. Definitely something to look forward to. Definitely something I was putting in time on today, and I'm going to get that out as soon as possible. I can't wait to share with the community like how incredible this tool is. It will walk people through from fiat to T-shares all within one front end that is read-only onto the Hex ecosystem, onto the Hex smart contract. It's brilliant. So I'm super excited to share this updated front end here. Tone put Richard in an elite class. Zuckerberg, Musk, Vitalik. LOL, he's digging himself even deeper. Correct. Excellent point. Oh my God. Hexander pointing out something, very insightful here. The lunch break streams for the Hex conference showing nothing got more views than Tone Vase's entire conference. Extremely well put, my friend. Let's see. Okay, so please don't insinuate drama if there is none. Still don't understand. Brand is awesome. Personally, it was one of the best times of my life. Yo, shout out to David Feeder, who was, like many of us, had one of the best times of his life at the Hex conference that we had last week. Hex Down Under. Morning, Maddie from Australia. Good to see where you're at after the last few months. Watched the Vegas stuff. Nice work. Thank you very much. Thanks for saying that. Respect. Yeah. So this person says, to be fair, Richard embarrassed Tone Vase at that conference. We're talking about a Bitcoin conference, I think, before Hex was launched, or in its early, well, yeah, it was before Hex launched. I think it was at Malta that they did one of their famous interviews. I would also say, though, that Tone definitely tried to get his revenge with the 4-hour stream he did with 3 other lawyers on the day that Hex launched, when Richard hadn't slept in 2 days. And it was one of the wildest Hex streams I've ever seen. It's still up on Richard's channel. You can go check that out. Go back to, what is it, December 19th? November? I get confused. Whenever the day Hex launched, that was the day that Richard streamed with Tone Vase. And they called it a pedantic school project that did not monetize the time value of money and would not appreciate in value. And they were dead wrong. So how many people unsubscribed from what? This channel is still growing, but it's I think some people have unsubscribed who weren't interested in understanding game theory better, which is that's good for me. Like, if I can broadcast to people who are extremely advanced, that's a goal of mine. Also, at some point, I want to make more content for people to catch up to that point more easily, which I think it will be possible in the future. But I'm focusing on understanding the cutting edge of game theory. Second priority, onboarding. Third priority, getting people caught up. So there's different distinct segments that people get into. Now, the Hex therapy stuff, that can sometimes be valuable for everyone, but you have to be willing to sit through maybe some things that you don't understand fully, or that you don't hang on my every word. I understand keeping people accountable, but there's a certain time for brainstorming and a certain time for repeating things over and over again. You lose the most advanced users because they move on to the next person who's talking about the most cutting edge. So the content is still up for people to catch up with their education, but at some point we might want to make content to catch people up faster. Might be possible. Yeah, I think Tone Vase promotes trading and getting people wrecked and having paid groups that he wouldn't have to have if he was really making so much money. Although I'm okay with people making an argument that he's not a bad guy. That's unclear to me. I've heard it considered, and I've heard the original design was not to fork them over, but then it was considered it might be worthwhile. Let's see. Yeah, Bitcoin conference looks fun. How can you get me on the panel? Yeah, right. I'll go up to Bobby Lee and talk to him about this and that. Like, you know, us lowly general admission people might not get access to, you know, the most high profile people. You know, there's a lot of crazy people out there, which is why when you have these public events and it's a huge scale, you know, if they have thousands of people there, then I don't blame them for whatever. But yeah, I'll take every opportunity I can. You know, I'm somewhat known for that. Like, you know, if like there's a backstage door that's open and somebody mistakes me for a panelist, like you bet I'm gonna sit down and shoot my shill, you know. Serena, what's up? Rich Wealth, thank you, Maddie. You're welcome. I should go pass out Hex Lucky Day cards. There you go. Yeah, big list of furus, lol. I want to understand the furus too. Like, we have to make sure we don't turn into them. So we do have to study them, you know, like not we have to. I shouldn't use that language. Like, I would like to. It may be advantageous for me to do a psychological study on these, you know, this furu class and report back to the community what I've learned. Yeah, definitely wearing some customized stuff. I mean, having the DeLorean there would be really sick. There would be the Bitcoiners would have to choose between, like, do I love Back to the Future enough to like go up to the car that says out of hex, you know? Many of them would fold under the weight of the time travel. Tin Top, shout out to you for listening on 2X, being so addicted to Hex content. I don't know if Hex is big in Russia. Thank you, Hex19, for your comment. Respect for doing your own research on Hedron. Yeah. Good material for Richard's lawyer. Good point. Save that drama for your mama. Hex Live. What is up? We had an awesome conversation when I was in Daytona, just talking about game theory. Oh, did I misspeak? No, I was intending to say Bran is the number one. Like maybe I listen to the most Hex content except for Bran. Oh, I get it. Okay. It's not that I don't listen to Bran. It's that Bran listens to more Hex content than I do. Good save. It's a really good example of being so out of context. And that was my bad. I mean, I don't know if it'll be 5, 10, or 15 years from now, but at some point I'll just turn on the stream and everybody will just automatically be able to read my thoughts and I'll be able to read your thoughts, and it'll be a really weird version of YouTube, or hopefully some fork of YouTube that doesn't suck as much. Please don't ban me. Centralized exchange wallets, excluding those for Pulse seems unlikely, considering the amounts held and what the exclusion would do to supply amounts. I mean, it would make them more rare for the people who hold their own crypto, which is a good thing. It would make it so the exchanges can't dump on people's heads on behalf of their users, which there may or may not be precedent for. They wouldn't be able to be confiscated by centralized authorities. But you're getting more users. You're vampire attacking more people. It'd be nice if there was like a claim process off of a centralized exchange. So like if in order to mint, I say mint, like unlock your coins, that you had to move them into, but I don't know how you would know that it's not the exchange moving it and it's the individual users moving it. Those exchange wallets are an important factor to consider. Another possibility is that they would get sued if they dumped the coins or if they did not give access to the users. So if you think that the exchanges are going to do the right thing, but what are their incentives? Their incentives are to not always do the right thing. It just really depends on who's actually making the calls at the centralized exchanges, whether they really want a version of the blockchain that works or whether they really like all the high fees that are being created now. So are they part of the problem? Will they be part of the solution? Find out when Pulse Chain launches or when Richard makes the decision on that part of the process. Hey, Maddie, hope all is well and you're thriving as usual. Indeed, I am. I already went to the gym once this week and went on a 4-mile run 2 separate times. So that's what's up. What's up, Maddie? What's up, Shoot the Moon? Ace says, I can see my future self attending a Hex conference in a DeLorean. That's an awesome prediction. Yeah, I'm going to the Miami Bitcoin conference in just under 3 weeks. Kareem has his own show on Sundays called The Staker App Show. And you can see it on Gerardo's YouTube, Huddle Dog's YouTube, and Staker App YouTube channel. I like that Hex is not on centralized exchanges, but maybe someday. All these guys are so big now they cannot stand each other's egos. I think like there's levels of complexity to organizations, and when you have competition, that can be a very healthy thing. It's not always smooth, and it doesn't always leave everybody feeling warm and fuzzy. And when you have people working together, not everybody enjoys that, although many are willing to do it. In a decentralized organization, such as in the Hex community, we are by and large volunteering. Some people are starting businesses. That's a clear division right there. Some people they're trading hex, and some people are just staking it and not selling any, or selling it in a way that doesn't hurt the price as much by like providing liquidity, setting limit orders. That's what, like, some people are shilling things and being intellectually honest about it. Other people are not. Like, as the community continues to grow, the type of people that people want to watch, it's going to change within the core audience that already exists, and the new people, they're also going to choose who they want to listen to and for what reasons. Like, as a broadcaster, if you're listening, I'd encourage you not to get discouraged by decreasing numbers, because you might have more quality people who are tuning in anyway. You might have higher signal to noise ratio than normal. And you might, such as myself, learn a lot and still get a lot of joy out of streaming and feel like you're making a difference. I have chosen to use my platform recently to promote longevity research and to take a stand against the corrupt Sens board, who's not using the $27.5 million that the Hexagon community raised for them based on our donor intent for Aubrey DeGray to have a say on how the funds are used. So that's how I'm using my influence this week, last week, and probably moving forward. I'm also, working on a front end project that I think will have the potential to onboard many, many, many thousands of people, maybe millions of people. That will require a lot of working together. Maybe it won't. I don't know. We'll see. We're making up some of this stuff as we go, because like Richard said at the conference, a lot of the people who are part of the Hexagon community are doing things that they've never done before. I never put on a conference before, and I did a great job at it. I've never been a YouTuber before, and it's a steep learning curve, and it's a moving target because of a lot of reasons. So it's important for an audience to keep their broadcaster honest and accountable. It's also important to not drive them crazy and to treat your broadcaster and everybody in the comment section. You should treat them better than you'd like other people to treat you. And maybe think twice before you say something that is super negative, because at the end of the day, we need a diversity of people to work together to address the real issues in the world, not necessarily whether people are taking a profit from their hex endeavors or not. Although, with that being said, the reason why this is such a complex topic is because there's different philosophies and different values about taking profit, about whether you're creating the same system that you were trying to get rid of. If there's more wealth inequality in the world and more populist governments getting elected because the average middle-class person isn't growing, isn't getting a better deal because of advances in technology, if that is being robbed from them, then the outcome on humanity can be bad. Remember, we're trying to make a transition from survival mode to abundance. And it's not a clear path. It's easier said than done. So I think we want to work together. We want to forgive. And at the same time, we can't demand anything from our volunteers above and beyond what they're committing to. And if, for example, if I wanted to stream with certain people for a lot or a little of my time, and then that changes, that might just be because I'm growing as a person. It might be because of a very specific reason, or it might be part of my learning process. It might be part of my own evolution. It might be what I think is best for my audience. And at the end of the day, like, almost everybody who's ever come on this stream, like, has their own show, and, like, we're all here on our own free will, so, some of the drama is misunderstandings. Some of the drama is egos. Some of it is like better left unsaid, and other parts of it needs to be brought to light. So, such is the human condition in all of its complexity. What do we do is not get torn down, not get worn down, by too many decisions, analysis paralysis. Like, at the end of the day, we have to do our best every day. So that's all we can really ask for, I think. Bristology was literally saying something that I was saying as well in my little rant. We need a diversity of people, all who think like that. Great stream tonight. Don't forget to hit the like button before it's over. When did you first hear of Richard Hart? A month or two before Hex was launched. The audience will come back with the price. It's normal. Yeah, if like the people who are mean don't like force the streamers to quit, right? Like, drama, people can only take so much drama. And like I said, there are some things that need to be addressed and some things that, we need to move on from. Thanks for the praise. JPond PLSX. Can someone give me Sun-Well syndrome, please? We are working on it. That's what the onboarding tool I'm creating, that I've created and I'm finishing the branding for. That's the point, is when you share Hex, you pump your own bags. And if it becomes easier than ordering a quesadilla from Taco Bell, then there could be a tipping point where a lot of people are being onboarded into Hex and the price is, again, going through the roof. Centralized exchanges by definition exist to not do the right thing. Facts. I mean, maybe they say they're onboarding people and, someday they'll get them set up with their own wallets, but no more promises. No more shilling ape coin like Coinbase did today to me. Like, stop it. Bad Coinbase. I mean, I think there have been other coins that extended off the Hex platform, but they ended up as pump and dumps. So we are supposed to not talk about them. In general, was like Richard's approach, and you don't hear him talking about hedron or liquid loans. He might throw out a few hints here and there, but he wants to shill his own tickers and wants, the people who are supporting his causes and his tickers to shill those. And, it's a free world, supposedly. So, but I'm predicting that there will be a Cambrian explosion. Quote this. I'm predicting there will be a Cambrian explosion in airdrops to Hex holders and other Richard Hart projects, I predict that it will, that everybody named Joey and everybody not named Joey at some point will be trying to create their own coin on top of Hex and Pulse Chain. Good comments. So this is maybe a hot take, but I see total value locked as being a vanity metric because the industry definition of that is like daily yield farming and kind of like giving out your tokens to earn interest or to earn inflation or to do something, but then you could still trade them whenever you want. And that isn't the same kind of total value locked as Hex creates, which creates a draconian time lock. So with penalties, if you don't serve at least half your time to get your principal back, being able to nuke yourself right off the bat doesn't exist elsewhere. So I would say we already have a fiat on-ramp for Hex and for Pulse Chain and everything else, and it's called Ethereum and it's called Bitcoin. And really, with a couple tweaks to a front end, hint, hint, the user doesn't really need to understand how TCP IP ports work. They don't need to understand all the packets that get sent back and forth to give you internet access. They just need to get America online, right? Or whatever. So, onboarding people. I like your comments. You're right about fiat on ramps, but the problem with fiat on ramps is that you're touching the legacy fiat system and all of its rules. And if you don't leave some insulation, then they're going to corrupt whoever it is that's at that junction. Right now, it's the centralized exchange people, and we're just kind of like routing through them. Hopefully not, giving them too much value, basically just using them as dumb pipes. Hopefully that adds some more perspectives. The fees on Ethereum spiked up again tonight. I knew that they were high this morning as well. They had been low for a week or two. Hey, just got my mother in on a 5555 stake today. That's awesome. Well done. Shell Fox saying, Maddie, appreciate all the effort you put into everything, bro. Hey, my pleasure. When people lash out, it's usually rooted in insecurity and fear. Hit the like button. There you go. Thanks, Maddie, for the chat today. I'm going to share the love around the community and join Hex Token stream now. Shout out to you, Brenton. Thanks, Bristology. I appreciate you too. I'm going to take this as a friendly joke or whatever. Maddie spent 4,000 hours writing his speech to get out of any situation or accusation. Hashtag game theory, hashtag teleprompter. I have no comment. Roll the prepared speech. Just kidding. I went to the Hex conference in Vegas. It was easily the best I've ever been to out of 10. Met some absolute legends in person. Looking forward to next year. Hey, thank you so much for the positive feedback. I'm glad it went so well for you, David. Hex Life. You rock, Maddie. To all the haters, shut the hell up. Paladin, thank you for the $21 super chat. The immense diversity is explained by how we are all united by Hex doing well. It's no surprise that the morale takes a hit when it dumps. No biggie. I'm not upset about the price ever since I went 100% staked. And so I have less empathy, I think, for people who are like upset about the price or even like connecting that to the drama. Like, it's worth keeping in mind. But at the end of the day, Hex solves this, and it's something that everybody could try if they wanted to. They could stake all of their liquid Hex for a certain number of days, for 10 days, just to, even though it costs you $100 to get in, or no, maybe starting a stake costs you $15, and like ending it for a 10-day stake, maybe it costs you $100 or $200. Not gas advice, not making predictions. I'm just saying, historically, if we looked at the price, that, $100 or $150 to like learn something super valuable about yourself, which is like how you behave when you make an investment, that you just have to wait and like you're not worried about what the price is because you can't sell right now. Like, I'm just saying, I've tried it and I like it better being fully staked. I switched from having yearly stakes and 1% of my bag liquid to doing quarterly stakes. And I'm loving it, to be super honest. Like, it gives me a budget of what I have to spend, and that doesn't change wildly all the time. And I'm not checking my phone compulsively multiple times a day to like see what the price is, to see the number on my screen go up and down by a lot. I literally made a separate I made a separate profile in my price tracking app. What do I use? I use Crypto Space Pro, which is just like a random iPhone app. And I don't know if it's even still on the App Store, but I think it is. Anyway, it's like got an orange Bitcoin color to it with a big C that's like fading out at the top. I made a separate profile that literally just has like my USDC balance, which doesn't change. So instead of opening the app and like checking, I think I open Staker app like once every other week or something. Like, so my behavior has radically changed, like from checking multiple times a day, sometimes multiple times an hour, and like checking more when I'm bored or in a bad mood or this or that. Like, I don't do that anymore. I like practice self-care or do something else. Anyway, so yeah. Like, there will be a Cambrian explosion. Something. Every Joey will get a coin. Something. Maddie ALLin 2022. Well, that's a partial quote. We'll have to pull back the train or whatever they say. Let's get a correction there. Hex Farmer, how's it going? Good to see you. It's good seeing you at the meetups. What's up, Hexiest man in the world? Shout out to you. Another person I saw at the conference. Let's see. Warped Impulse. Maddie, I admire your ability to ignore the relentless clowning aimed at you. Well done. Thank you, Warped Impulse. Dr. More, namaste, Hexicans. I don't give the price drop that meaning. I believe it's the uncertainty and waiting for Pulse Chain. Can't wait to see the Hex onboarding tool. For sure. I'm so excited to share that. Tell us more deep origin story about Maddie. I gave one anecdote on the Tuesday show about my importing ant miner days and buying Bitcoin miners from Bitmain to flip on eBay. So I would refer to that. My battery is about to die. My good charger is still in Vegas. So my streaming ability to stream beyond like 2 hours is super wrecked. So LOL. NFT mint causes the gas price to go up. Good observation. Pot of gold. That's right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, thanks everybody for tuning into this 2-hour episode of Hex Therapy Live. As you may be able to tell, I'm reinvigorated now that the conference is over, now that it was a huge success. I can't thank everybody enough. I'm excited to unveil all the things I've been working so hard on and to continue doing everything I can to pay forward the awesome things that have been afforded to me in Hex. So check out this channel for any pop-up streams where I announce Aubrey DeGray's new donation information that will probably go through the Methuselah Foundation and or his own private wallet and then to the Methuselah Foundation so that we can send the SENS board of directors the message that regenerative medicine will not be held up due to their disregard for donor intent. If you're like a whale or a shark who donated to the SENS Foundation, we're doing a private Zoom call with Aubrey DeGray, not with the SENS Foundation, just with Aubrey to go over any questions you have. So look in your email for that. And ask around with David as well. He might be able to help us get the links out. But with that being said, let's see. More to look forward to. As always, check out Game Theory Gang on Tuesday nights at 5:30 on the West Coast, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. For now, this is Maddie ALLin signing off and saying Happy St. Patrick's Day. Stake wisely, my friends. And what should I play as the outro that is not going to get this stream taken down? All right, it's going to be the same one.
It's from Maddie ALLin of Hex Therapy Live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research. There's nothing that a human being could do better than try and heal his fellow man.